Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the ND Ninja Stars podcast. And I wanted to touch on something that probably is a bit of a difficult one for those of us that do live in a neurodivergent, do live as neurodivergent individuals, but don't have the most perfect of circumstances. That feeling of okay, I'm neurodivergent. You're saying everything's great, but my life isn't. My friends, my family do not think that it's something special and something to be celebrated. So I can't celebrate it. I can't find anything to celebrate about my neurodivergent life. Now, if this is a thought that you express, firstly, you have huge sympathy and empathy from myself. I am someone who battled through that through my teenage years and early adult life as well. And it took a while to get through it, to start celebrating being neurodivergent rather than just pitying being neurodivergent. So, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to impart knowledge that I learnt, knowledge that I um, im- was given to me to help me embrace my neurodivergent life. And maybe, just maybe, it might help you too. First one, language. Now, what do I mean when I mean language? I don't mean in terms of when you're neurodivergent, you learn loads of curse words really quickly. Of course not. That's not what I mean here. But being neurodivergent is a language. See, in reality, whilst I have been born in England, raised in England, English is not my first language. Being autistic is. It's a different way of thinking, it's a different way of speaking, it's a different way of communicating, so it is a language in itself. Why do you think it is that neurodivergent individuals tend to recognize each other very, very quickly? It's because they speak the same language. Why do you think they bond so quickly? It's because they speak the same language, have the same sorts of cultures within themselves, the same way of speaking to other people, the same way that they prefer to be spoken to. It is a language. And just because no one around you speaks your language does not mean that you are valued any less. In fact, if anything, it's a start of you potentially being valued more. Think about it this way. Imagine if, let's say, that the neurodivergent language was, let's go for German, right? And you, through work, through effort, end up learning the language of your neurotypical folk. What does that mean? So let's say in a language context, like say German, and I end up learning how to be English, I'm duolingual. I am more valuable. I have more tools at my disposal because I can speak in a way that appeals to those that are autistic, and now I have learnt a way to speak to those that aren't. And when I throw in ADHD, I learn to speak with, again, it's making me better at communication than your common neurotypical. So that is one way in which, through a bit of effort, being neurodivergent is a skill, is something that can make you more valuable. What's another way? What's another way that I can try and use my knowledge um, to appeal, to show that being neurodivergent, it can be something that's celebrated? Well, have you ever heard the term thinking outside the box? Ever? What does that term normally mean? It normally means like an amazing inventor that solves a problem we didn't even realize we had in the first place, or solves a problem by going down a completely different route than we expected. It's a skill that everyone loves. Whenever you hear the term "they thought outside the box," they never mean it negatively, do they? It's a positive thing. The person that thought outside the box has solved something in a way that no one expected and provided better results than anyone ever expected. Thinking outside the box is something to be praised. Now, how about the way you think as someone who's neurodivergent? Is it different from everybody else's? Is it a different way of thinking to everybody else? Most likely it is. They have a term for that: thinking outside the box. Used appropriately, your thinking can be used to solve issues that people thought could never be solved, or issues that thought people thought they didn't even realize they had until it was too late. You see where I'm going? It's a huge skill to have. Think about this. In Silicon Valley, that futuristic place that, has all the great minds that think ahead, more than 50% of them are neurodivergent. Do you know what's even better? They actually aim to hire neurodivergent individuals because that way they are getting the different thinkers. They still hire neurotypicals, but they want people that are thinking about how to make a difference and working out alternative ways to get that difference. You starting to feel a bit special now? No? Okay. Let me give you one more example. And this is an example of a close friend of mine. She's about my age, lives very local to me, and has Tourette's. Um, she was heartbreakingly self-conscious of it, um, and we wondered how her future was looking. Not necessarily because of her lack of skill or her Tourette's, but the fact that her being aware of it caused her to go within herself. Do you want to know what job she took on? And I think this is like boom, like the neurodivergent outside the box thinking, which is absolutely genius. She worked as a translator for the deaf. What did that mean? Meant that her vocal tics didn't matter, and it meant that her motion tics, well, her hands were too busy to do those motion tics. It was actually impressive. She made an incredible life of herself, and to the point where, despite the fact that she has a condition that the symptoms could negatively impact self-worth, she made an incredible life of herself, and the amount of times I saw her smiling was beautiful to behold. You see, despite what other people say, you have an opportunity. You do have a gift. Now, don't get me wrong, there are elements of it which can feel disabling. I'm not downplaying the difficulties, the challenges. There are still difficulties of communicating with other people if you are autistic. There are still the difficulties at being risk of a seizure if you're epileptic. There are still risks of completely losing focus or becoming hyperfixated and the challenges with that if you're ADHD. There are the challenges of potentially causing upset or causing hurt, physical hurt to people if you have Tourette's. Of course, there are negative things about it. Of course, there are obstacles that need to be handled. And to all of you that are handling them and are watching this video, I salute you because you are battling them. You continue to battle them. And whilst you are continuing to battle them, you are winning. But you do also have some absolutely beautiful gifts that neurotypicals wouldn't be able to dream of. The way to think analytically and different analytical thinking about a situation. The hyper focus. I've spoken a lot about individuals who won things because they were in the zone. That's hyper focus to a T. The individuals that show this willingness to be really active, fight things, and come out with imaginative phrases. That's individuals with Tourette's. There is someone with Tourette's right now that starts off a blog that has now created this situation where she's providing phrases that are being used in films, in books, because she's noting them down. These tics that she had no control over are now providing a gift to other people. Like I say, the world may press you down. Friends may mock you. Family might put you down because you're not them. You may have even governments that think your situation is disabling enough that you don't get certain benefits, but not disabling enough to think that you get something from them. It's horrible. But you do have something worth celebrating, and I want to celebrate it with you. Please continue to like and subscribe on the YouTube, and please continue to listen. We are still going to be providing those life experiences through interviews, and I absolutely know you are going to be motivated, infused, empowered by hearing those circumstances. Let's empower a neurodivergent nation. Let's empower a abnormal community, because we have a gift. It's only fair we share it.